Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to dive into all the buzz from MetaConnect 2024.
Yeah, they really threw a lot our way, huh?
Seriously, we've combed through a ton of takes on it from places like CNET, ZDNet, the heavy hitters.
Trying to get a clear picture, not just the meta hype reel.
Exactly. And let me tell you, some of this stuff is straight out of sci-fi, but it's closer than we think. I'm talking augmented reality, AI that's almost too smart.
And of course, new hardware. Can't forget that.
Right. So if you've ever wondered what it'd be like to have the internet right there in front of you,
Or have a chat with AI that sounds eerily like a real person.
then buckle up because you are in for a wild ride.
Let's kick things off with the MetaQuest 3S, shall we?
The 3S, yeah, it seems like they're really going for affordability this time.
Which is interesting, considering they also just discontinued the Quest 2.
Makes you wonder if they're feeling the heat from Apple and the whole Vision Pro thing.
It's definitely a possibility. The VR market's getting kind of crowded. Meta wants to stay on top.
Makes sense. A lower price point makes it easier for folks to jump in.
Exactly. Though it does make you wonder about those who bought a Quest 2 recently.
Ooh, yeah, that's got to sting a little. But hey, let's talk about what this new headset can actually do.
Right, so they're touting a new Snapdragon chip, which should mean smoother performance all around.
For us non-techies, translate that. What does that actually look like for the user?
Imagine smoother gameplay, less of that annoying lag, and the ability to handle more complex virtual environments.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to get it.
And then there's the display. Sharper, clearer, almost like looking at real life, they say.
So they're aiming for that super immersive experience, like you're actually in the game.
That's the goal, yeah. But there's a catch, always a catch.
Oh, lead on me.
They're making a big deal about compatibility with the existing Quest library,
Right.
which is great for people with older models.
Yeah, that's a huge plus for sure.
But what happens when developers start making games specifically for the 3S's capabilities?
You're thinking those older headsets might get left behind.
It's a possibility. It's all about control.
Uh-huh.
Meta controls the hardware, the software.
And by making this new headset so tempting, they kind of nudge people towards it.
Exactly. It's a smart strategy, if a little sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, let's move on to something even wilder, shall we?
Wilder. Okay, you have my attention. What is it?
Project Orion. Remember those blurry their AR glasses we've seen before?
Yeah.
Well, imagine those, but with full color holograms projected directly onto your world.
Hold on. Are we in the Matrix now? This is starting to sound like pure science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? But Meta insists it's closer than we think. Picture this. Messages popping up in midair, video calls projected onto any surface, all without needing a clunky headset.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. That sounds incredible, but also kind of overwhelming. Like, how would we even function in a world like that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does a society adapt to a world where digital and physical are so intertwined?
Where the line is blurred, yeah. Like, imagine walking down the street, having conversations with people who aren't even there, just their hologram projection. It's mind-boggling.
It really makes you question what reality even means anymore, doesn't it?
No kidding. Okay, maybe we need to sit with that for a minute before we...
Before we get too lost in a world of holograms, let's reel it back into something a bit more familiar.
Familiar, but still futuristic, I hope. I'm not ready to come back to reality just yet.
Oh, this is definitely still in the realm of the future, I assure you. Think artificial intelligence, but with the meta twist.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Hit me with it.
Imagine this. You're chatting with your AI assistant, and instead of that generic robotic voice, you hear Morgan Freeman.
Hold up, like actually Morgan Freeman? How is that even possible?
That's the magic of natural language processing, or NLP. Meta's basically teaching AI to sound like, well, anyone.
So it's not just pre-recorded snippets, it can actually mimic anyone's voice.
That's the idea, yeah. They're betting big on voice being the future of how we interact with tech.
Makes sense, actually. Voice feels more natural than typing commands or trying to learn a whole new interface.
Exactly. It's about breaking down those barriers, making tech feel less, well, robotic. But
there's always a but, isn't there?
it does raise some ethical questions, doesn't it? I mean, if an AI sounds exactly like a real person.
We might start treating it like one, right? Sharing personal stuff, maybe even forming attachments.
Exactly. It blurs the lines in a way that we haven't really grappled with before. And that's just one piece of the puzzle.
There's more. Okay, now I'm slightly terrified, but also kind of can't wait to see what's next.
Buckle up, because we're moving on to what might be the most mind-bending part of MetaConnect. Mixed reality.
Mixed reality. Okay, that sounds like a whole other level of whoa.
This is where it all comes together.
Hmm.
The VR, the AI, everything Meta's been working on.
So paint me a picture. What does a mixed reality future actually look like?
Imagine a world where those virtual screens, the holograms we talked about, they're not confined to a headset. They're just there.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So, like, I could be walking down the street and have a work meeting pop up.
Essentially, yeah. Some participants might be physically there, others beamed in as realistic avatars, all interacting in a replica of your office, but projected onto your living room.
That's a lot. I mean, on the one hand, it's incredibly cool. No more Zoom calls. I could collaborate with anyone from anywhere.
Exactly. The potential is huge, but it makes you wonder about the implications, right?
For sure. Like, what does that do to our sense of reality, our privacy? It's a lot to unpack.
It really is. And it brings up a theme we keep coming back to: control. Who gets to decide how this mixed reality future unfolds?
Because it sounds like Meta wants to be the one calling the shots. They've got the hardware, the software.
And with that comes a lot of responsibility.
Right, responsibility. It's easy to get caught up in the, ooh, shiny of it all. But there's a bigger picture here.
Absolutely. We can't just blindly accept whatever tech gets thrown our way. We got to ask the tough questions.
Like, what are we really signing up for? What are the trade-offs?
Exactly. Meta paints this rosy picture, this seamless blend of real and digital, but at what cost?
And maybe more importantly, who gets to decide that cost? Because right now it feels like Meta's calling the shots.
That's the thing about being the architect of this new reality, right? They're building the foundation.
And we're kind of just along for the ride. That doesn't feel great.
It shouldn't, but it doesn't have to be a passive thing. We have a voice in this, even if it doesn't feel like it.
Okay, I'm listening. How do we make that voice heard? What can we actually do?
It starts with awareness, understanding what's at stake, the good and the bad.
So do your research, folks. Don't just buy the hype. Think about how this tech affects you, your life.
Your relationships, your sense of self, everything. And don't be afraid to demand better from these companies.
Right. Support the ones that prioritize privacy, that are open about their practices. Vote with your wallets, essentially.
Exactly. And engage in the conversation. Talk to people about it. Raise awareness.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say. Or in this case, maybe a less intrusive mixed reality experience.
That's the hope, isn't it? That we can shape this technology to serve us, not the other way around.
It's kind of empowering when you think about it like that. The future's not set in stone. It's what we make it.
Exactly. And that's what these deep dives are all about. Not just understanding the tech, but taking ownership of it.
Figuring out how it fits into our lives, how we want to use it. That's a future I can get behind.
Me too. And hey, who knows what crazy innovations we'll be unpacking next time.
Can't wait to find out. Until then, keep those questions coming and keep exploring. See you all on the next deep dive.